You may begin.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I am Artocatos, and I am going to do a little carving. I'm going to go over my process on how I do it, and I'm also going to throw information out there if anyone would like to make a deluâ or an idol for themselves. So as most of you know, I make and sell these things, and I am slowly turning it into like a little sort of ritual process to kind of, um, I guess, kind of maybe enrich the spirit that I'm kind of putting into this, because I'm putting my energy, my focus into this, and I think it kind of helps bring out, it helps put more life into my art. So today, because I only have an hour, I'm only going to do one of my 3-inch. I've been calling them. Actually, my fiance named them this, but a pocket idol. And I was thinking about it. I'm going to turn this one into like a maybe a small necklace if I can. But yeah, we're gonna do that. So when I first started, I started just with just a regular pocket knife and just small handheld tools, and it took forever to make. Then eventually I upgraded to more efficient hand tools, and then eventually I got one of these by recommendation of Brano, who I'm going to mention quite a bit because he's helped me a lot in my carving. So I have here just a typical Dremel. And I highly recommend, if you're going to get one of these, get an actual Dremel. I've not had a bad experience yet with them. This one's corded. It costs a little extra. I think this one was like maybe like $80 or so. I have a cordless one in case I need to carve on the go. That one's only like $45. And that one, sorry, it costs like $45. The battery life isn't great, but if you're not working on a time crunch, it's a great investment. So I already pre-cut this guide to 3 inches. The wood is actually what I found in Yosemite. Yellowstone, not Yosemite. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of these larger bits. Again, these bits were gifted to me by Brenos. This big guy here is going to take all the outer layer, the bark off. And for that, I'm going to put on some safety goggles because the big bits are going to toss stuff everywhere. As you shrink down in bit size, the debris will get more and more smaller and not as much of an eye hazard. So I'm going to mute myself because I don't want to break you guys' ears. Okay, so basically what I did is I took that outer bark off to kind of get to the kind of the meat of the wood, if that makes any sense. So I have my kids saying hi to everybody. So, excuse me from my old man-ness. I'm trying to read comments.
Oh, don't worry, Artocatos. I'll read them out to you afterwards. Just do your thing, and then we'll have a question period and comments. Don't worry.
Roger that. Okay. So I'm not quite done with this larger bit yet, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to round the top of this to eventually form like a kind of a head shape. So I'm going to put my goggles back on, and I'm going to mute myself again. Okay. So I've rounded the top of that a little bit. I'm not going to go completely around just yet, because I have kind of an idea of what I'm going to be carving. So the bulk is basically done. So we're going to go down a bit size. Now I have 5 different sizes of these wood carving bits. I'm not exactly sure what the proper name of them is called, but they're the ones I use every time I carve into wood. So this guy's a little bit smaller, but still going to put out a lot of sawdust. So I'm going to keep wearing my safety glasses. So now that we got kind of the head of it rounded a little bit, and we have kind of the under bark material to work with, I'm going to start kind of drawing some of the features and kind of start getting that carved out. Now, the way I do it now, because I didn't do this always, is that I kind of start out with the material that's going to be further out. Like if I were to carve my face, I would start with more of my hair because that sticks out further than the rest of my face, or my nose, because my nose is always just way out there. So for this, I'm going to kind of get, because what I'm carving is kind of a little ancestor piece for myself. So, and when I think of the ancestor spirits that I work with, is definitely, I always think of Divico. That I don't know who the artist is, but there's this drawing of Divico that's always kind of spoken out to me. So I'm going to kind of go with that. And if anyone knows what I'm talking about, I did kind of a version of it from my Divico art, which I've shared a Discord before, but I can always send it to whoever wants to see it. But, so I'm going to draw a bit of a helmet. And the helmet's got like a plume on top. So I'm going to draw that. That's going to protrude out the top of the head. So that's where I'll start next. Drop this back on. Okay, so I've isolated the areas like so. And from here, I'm going to kind of smooth out the area to kind of give it more of a three-dimensional look. And something I forgot to mention beforehand, when handling a Dremel, definitely use safety. I try to use this kind of motion like this to kind of get at certain angles. I think there might be a safer way to hold it because I'm always afraid it's going to catch and just hit myself right in the arm, which hasn't happened yet, thank God. And then there's also the kind of pencil grip. Also, especially if you're working on a piece for yourself, do not worry about mistakes. A lot of times the mistakes are workable, and a lot of times it brings out more character. I don't think I've ever really made a mistake that's made me like, oh, I need to scrap this. Oftentimes it can actually really help you out. So, so we're going to, like I said, we're going to kind of smooth out some of these grooves, make this helmet a little bit smaller, and bring it, make it more, give it more of a 3D kind of look. Get myself. Okay, so from there we got the helmet a little bit smaller, a little more proportionate, and it definitely exposed more of this this plume that we're going to, as we go down to a smaller size, kind of bring more of that out. But that's when I was rounding the top or the sides earlier. Now we got more. It's more rounded. It's gonna, and we're gonna, as we go down in smaller bit sizes, we're gonna go over this a little bit more just to keep rounding that out. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't ever go for perfection. Like I said, especially when looking at a lot of the carvings and idols, whether it's stone or wood, that have been discovered, they're not always symmetrical. They're not always realistic. They were very, especially in that Helvetian art style, it's very fluid looking. It just almost, I guess, abstract would be the best term to use for it, where they're not realistic. There's no realism in Gaulish artwork. So next, we're not going to go down to a bit size just yet. So now that we got the helmet done, now we can focus on his hair and his beard. Because in that artwork for Deluâ, he's got very long hair, very long, very wild, kind of untamed hair. I'm not sure if that's actually how he looks, but I dig it. That's for sure. He's got that very long beard. That. just a very faint outline of where we're going to be. So we're going to go along those lines with the bit we have now, kind of bring more of that out. The body's going to shrink a little bit. And it's going to have some proportion. On. Oh, we've got a nice little groove right where the line I just drew was. So what I'm going to do next, again, using the same drill bit size, we're just going to smooth the body down a little bit. We're going to it's going to bring the beard and the hair further out. Okay, so he's a little skinnier now. Shave some of that fat off of him. So the next step, we're going to just outline his face a little bit. So we're going to outline the interior of the beard. So we got the interior of that beard. That's going to give us this much space for his face. And from here, we're going to go down bit size. Now that I've gone down a bit size, I'm going to just go over, like I said, the line I just drew. And I'm also going to go back and kind of fine tune the areas I've already done. And that's going to, it's going to smooth it out first off. And it's also going to kind of even it out a little bit. Yeah. So we have definitely smoothed out some of the older areas. So it's looking a lot more fleshed out. We got more of the face exposed, the beard's definitely more pronounced now, the hair, everything. It's definitely starting to come together now. So here, now we're going to start adding a little bit more iconography. Now, when people order from me, I typically will ask them, especially if it's a deity or something I'm not familiar with, I'm going to ask for iconography. And a lot of times, you're going to have, I don't know, you just have a name, which is fine. Because I make these for other people, I will ask them, what do you associate with this deity? Who do you, or what symbolism do you use? And I will put that into the piece. So because we have the helmet and the beard and the hair, I'm going to add a little sword down here. And it's going to look weird because of where it's located, but you know what? I don't care. This is for me. So little sword right there. And like I said, it looks off, but it's for me. I don't care. Now we're going to go down another bit size. And again, we're going to go over everything else, which will smooth it out, get rid of some of the rough edges. Now that we're getting into the smaller tools, it's not kicking up as much sawdust. So I'm going to try to see if I can do this with my glasses on, so I can actually see what I'm doing. And also what I'm going to do is I'm going to start whittling down this face area. I'm going to leave where his nose is going to be alone. And that's the one thing I typically will have trouble with are noses. Because if you can always take wood off, it's hard to put wood on. So although I've been successful so far, but it's always something I'm worried about is taking a little too much off the nose. So, all right, mute. Yeah, I took the goggles off too early. So, thankfully, it wasn't that. Just blink that out. Okay, so definitely getting more form to him now. And when I got the face here, I left right in the center, and I got more of like where his cheeks are. So that's going to bring more of the beard out. It's going to get more where the face is going to be, and we have still plenty of meat to work with for his nose. I went back over and I just kind of smoothed out some areas, especially where the crease of the helmet meets the hair. Smoothed that out so it looks like hair that is coming out of his helmet. I went over, I smoothed the helmet down a little bit so we have more of that plume that's sticking out. And I got that sword kind of out. I'm going to probably go around the side here and smooth that out because there's a distinct edge right along the center here. So before I do that, next what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw where his mouth is going to be and the beard, which I usually put a little triangle to kind of signify where the mustache that is. I'm just going to put 2 little lines for his nose for right now. Now, because this is so small, I'm not sure if I can use some of my other bits to put much detail into the nose like I usually do. I might give it a shot, but we'll see what happens. It's going to go in the moment. I only plan so far ahead. It all depends on really what it looks like in the moment. So I got his nose outlined here. Put his nose there. I'm not going to worry about his eyes a whole lot. The eyes are probably one of the last things that I do. So we have a rough face to go on. Now for this, I'm going to go down to the smallest wood carving bit I have. And this is the one I usually do for a lot of the smaller details, especially on these 3-inch ones, because the piece itself is small. So very small bit we're working with. So I definitely have to be careful, but I'm able to maneuver around without making any mistakes, which again, if you make a mistake, it is totally fine. There's no shame in making mistakes. Go with the Bob Ross method, which is just, turn it into a happy little treat. All right, back to Okay, so we got more of the face exposed. We have a little mouth in there now. I have a nice chunk here for a nose. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab some of my, not exactly sure what they're called, but they're these little ball-headed bits. Most Dremels, when you buy one, will come with these. They're like a little round ball on the top with little grooves, and this way I'm going to get more of the face details done. I'm going to try to put little nostrils along the side of the nose as I go deeper. I'm going to try to add some depth to his nose, actually get that point in there, because right now I just have a flat piece of wood for his nose. This is just my personal preference. I like to get that nose more nose-like rather than just a straight piece of wood. Although it's up to you, however you want to do it. So I'm going to swap these tools. All right. So, as I said, one more time. So I'm going to get more of the face, get it more carved into the wood, so we can bring that nose out, so we can shape the nose a lot better. Maybe add some cheekbones, and then after that, I'll start doing the eyes. All right, might be hard to see, but as you may or may not see, got a lot more of the face kind of dug in. I have little nostrils starting to protrude out. Definitely a little rougher using these little ball tips that don't really carve clean, but we can fix that up when we get to the sanding portion. So I'm going to grab a smaller version of this so I can get right in between the nose and the beard, and we can start rounding off the edges to kind of round, make it more round, make it a little more realistic. And from there, after that, I'll probably get to work on the eyes, which I'm going to set aside that bit for that. So there, or smaller. First part off. Okay. All right. So again, might be hard to see, but we got definitely have a nose now that has got a little bit of dimension, not as much as I would prefer. But I've seen guys with really flat noses, especially those that did boxing or MMA. Got some nostrils on there, some more depth to the face. I rounded some of the corners a little bit, and when you're around with this thing, just so you don't, to avoid like kind of digging into the material, just kind of do it in that that little pencil grip, and just little light flicks just along that rough edge. And if you don't feel comfortable doing that, that's fine. We can always round it off when we do get to sanding. So I'll take that bit that I set aside that is more medium size that we're going to do for the eyes. So kind of, I oftentimes will do this. I'll kind of go from my cheekbones and nose are to kind of find where my eyes are on this thing. I just put a little dot. A little dot there. Just kind of make sure they're somewhat even. And these have been kind of the signature of my my carvings. It's just that little hole where the eyes are. There we have little eyes. So what I was doing was, because I have that Sharpie on there, is I'll kind of come in like so, and I'll just do a little circle just to make sure it's getting placed right, and I'll kind of go within the Sharpie so I can get more of a kind of a target of where I'm going to be. I'll back off, just going to make sure that they're still coming in even. And then when I use my wood burner, I'm just going to I just stab right in the eye, and it'll equally get that dark circle in there. So now that we got all the features kind of in place, now I'm going to just pull out my sanding tools, which I'm going to get a little wheel sander here. And for the face where I can't quite get in with that sander, I have this guy here, which is more of a cone sander, and that'll kind of get in there. So first, I want to get the details, the face out of the way, because that's more concerning to me than the rest of the body, which I just kind of go over with the circular wound. I try to take care of the harder details first, just so that way they're out of the way and I don't have to stress about it. Sorry about that. All right, that turned out really, really well. So we have definitely a smoother face now. We can see a lot more of the features. You can definitely see that nose a lot better. Got rid of a lot of the rougher material that was still there. So I'm going to switch to my circular sander. I don't know.
Just a heads up, Artocatos. We probably have about 5 more minutes.
Okay, cool. Thank you for that. Yeah, I'm just gonna do the quick sanding. That'll only be like a couple minutes, and then I'll be good. Then I'll kind of show off what a finished product would look like. So, real quick before my time runs out, I'm gonna just go over the whole thing real quick, smooth all those edges out. It'll take off. You just gotta be careful because this thing will take off a lot of material, especially if it's a fresh wheel. So. And like that, all the marker is now off. We still see that sword there, which I will go over with a wood burner to really showcase it. Yeah, he turned out fantastic. So because I don't have a whole lot of time left, after I do a wood burning and stain, they're going to come out looking like this. You'll see all the little details are there. And I have a little book full of my Bruno weaves. Anytime someone asks me to do one of these guys and I make a weave for it, I jot it down in my little book so I have it on hand in case I need to make that same deity later on down the road. So yeah, I will definitely, if anyone follows me on Facebook, TikTok, or anything like that, or in Discord, I'll definitely share the finished result of what this is going to look like.
Thank you so much, Artocatos. Does anyone have any questions? I did see there's a lot of positive comments. Let me scroll up a bunch just to read some out.
You guys are very positive. Thank you. I read some of them while I was carving.
Yeah. So yeah, it's amazing to watch. Great stylized art. You gave us a scare there when you dropped your tool for a bit.
I dropped this guy, which if that happens, whatever hand you have your tool in, just kind of death grip it. Make sure you don't like panic it, go like that. So if you drop anything, if you drop the tool, just back away from it. Let it hit the ground. You can replace the tool. You can't replace the toe.
That is very true. All right, I'm gonna stop the recording.